Hey, we are live at the storage unit. So I just got back from the woods. It was raining all day. So let's give you kind of a glimpse of what goes on here. So a few slabs. These are all dry slabs. And I have quite a few places to place some slabs. I've sold a bunch of slabs lately. These box elder slabs are pretty interesting. Has some flames in them. Tell myself I want to make a live video every week on YouTube. So here we go. So yeah, I gotta take all these slabs and place them in there, and we'll be chatting and talking, and hopefully it'll be a pretty quick video. But yeah, the Wood-Mizer is absolutely fantastic. We're gonna do 2 at a time. So this is 5/4 material. I cut it like 2 years ago. It's nice and flat, nice and dry, ready to be sold. We'll try to get this done as soon as possible. So please see guys' time. I've also been up quite some time. I was in the woods. If you didn't catch my earlier situation. So yeah, I made a plan with a bunch of trees that I need to cut. All this material is dry. I needed to bring more material here because I've sold so many slabs. Whenever I got back, look, so whenever I stand this up, that doesn't stand properly. I wish that cut was a little different. That's not the best either. So I'm going to choose the heaviest side, which is like this. So we need to find a place for these. It rained on us all day long. The fire that I had to build. So we got there right before it rained. We knew it was gonna rain, but we wanted to go take it. Look how beautiful it is. This is dry charcuterie stock or whatever you want. It's nice and flat, even from end to end. It's absolutely beautiful. But yeah, we were in the woods and I had to build such a hot fire. And once I built that fire, after I built the fire, I just kept on stacking logs and a teepee around it. Even like green logs and wet logs because it was just pouring. And we just kept on like building a shelter for the fire. And we got it so hot it burned the entire time. We got nice and warm. We had shelter and tent set up and all that, so it was fantastic. But yeah, it was a very fun experience. Whenever I got back, you know, I don't have service when I go in the woods, so whenever I get, you know, communication, I'll have like 15 different people that are, you know, reaching out about wood. So that's what happened. So right when I got back, literally somebody met me over here and, you know, bought some wood and so on and so forth. So I've been needing to bring some wood over here, and that's what I'm doing. So I'm gonna toss these in here. I have like 9 more, and then we go in here, talk a little bit, and we'll be done. So the majority of my wood is at my house. Undercover, and then I have a bunch of wood in the backyard. Not necessarily ready to go. This is an interesting piece. You know, it's, I would consider it organic, you know, from end to end. So I don't know if you can see it, but there's not like a saw cut on that end. There's not a saw cut on that end, so it's actually a pretty interesting piece. It's 4/4. It's really flat. It's dry. It's been out for a while. I cut the tree down. I sliced it up. I dried it. Air dry, slowly dry. I take my slabs. I think of it as wine. So whenever I cut them, I like to, you know, cut them. Ideally, you know, remove the bark if it's gonna be summertime, because there's a lot of water in softwood. Remove the bark. Get them all cleaned up. Let them sit out for like a week or two. Let the surface, you know, you don't want to like just put like a soaking wet slab in a stack. So let the surface dry out a little bit, and then put them in their stacks. And then once you put them in their stacks, kind of like forget about it. You know, wine kind of takes time to age and stuff, so I just think of the wood after I cut it and get it stacked. I don't even like think of it as like, oh, you know, most people want to sell it right away, and that's kind of not my desire. It's kind of a slow process. One day I would like to have a larger footprint, skidsters, you know, more logs coming in, you know, a kiln and stuff like that, but I don't have that. Oh, goodness. Dry, flat, ready to work, and I'm just bringing it over here so customers can buy it. Because I have quite a few customers that come visit me every day, and that's that. And we're also here's another 6/4. It was a very wet night, wet day, all day, just rain. It was fun. I didn't harvest any trees. That wasn't my goal. I had to clean up an area that I did do in harvesting. I burned a lot of wood. That's 24 hours. Tons of wood. Rain, it was perfect time. I burned so much wood. So that was one of the many times I'll go out there and burn wood, and these are absolutely beautiful. you know, so there's a crotch figure down there. Nice, beautiful situation up there. If I was to do this, you would see it's a hook match. And yeah, so once again, this is 5/4 material. This isn't 6/4. So I'm gonna put these back together. These are nice and dry pieces. Air dried. I've had these cut for over 2 years. They've been in a stack for 2 years. I just pulled them out and yeah, ready to sell them. So we're gonna put these right here. And then there's one more. And then the truck's empty. That's the goal, get the truck empty. I do have take a shower. I gotta take the kids to school. Wife is working first thing in the morning, so the wood processing situation needs to kind of wrap up. So this is the Wood-Mizer LT40 wide. Yeah. So these, let's station you over here. Let's look at these. These bigger ones. So you see them. Let's go over here a little bit. So every time I sell wood, so I've sold over 10,000 slabs in the past 10 years, one piece at a time. But once you get wall space, which is great, you know, I'm going to take advantage of that. As you can see, the slab, I'll unfold it right here to reveal its book match. Ideally, this is sold in a set. If somebody wants it just single, that's fine too. But there's not going to be any discount on it if they're wanting, you know, the slab. It's going to be what the price is. I haven't priced them yet. Well, I'm thinking like 160. 160 each on those. And then unfortunately, so I really don't like putting slabs up in my storage unit that aren't situated. Like this this slab is a liability to me. 100% liability. You just put this right here and say you're leaning against the wall and you think it's good. You have a customer coming here, comes and whacks them in the face. That's not a good situation. So I do need to cut this slab. It's 12 or 1 o'clock at night. I'm not going to do that right now. Let's bring you closer. I like to keep this to be a, you know, shorter video than most. So that's the charcuterie stock. Beautiful wood. All been cut for over 2 years. All dry. Wood-Mizer. I built the shelf a few months ago to get some stuff off the ground, and then I have the slabs here currently to fulfill that situation. So all that wall space right there, so you can see, I believe you can see, you know, there's empty wall space. I have all those slabs right there. I need to plug them in, but I do need to do some trimming cuts. None of them are marked, so they don't have measurements on them, you know, the thickness, the length, or anything like that. So I will make a few cuts on those, so whenever the slab, you know, stands on its current cut, it's not, you know, standing like this and it wants to tip over. It has a good stance. Heaviest end will be on the floor, and I need to make a trim cut. These are dry material. I'm just getting them prepared for, you know, sale. I sell slabs every single day. This is all I do. I sell wood. I cut wood. You know, here's one of my. This is my smallest chainsaw. This is gonna be like my primary saw. This like eats wood. This one's. I would say this needs to be sharpened. And then, you know, if it's like this, you know it's ready to eat wood. This saw is ready to eat any tree I desire. So, and that wasn't healthy for it to be scraped on its tooth. But anyway, so those are the chainsaws. This is the Wood-Mizer. I was really hoping I was going to be able to stand those slabs up on this wall. But the cuts just, the slabs aren't leaning properly, and I don't think that'd be safe. Sometimes you get a gust of wind that comes through here, and it'll knock a slab over. You would not want that to happen on these slabs right here that are, almost 40 inches wide. These are tabletop slabs. Rewind and you can see the slabs, but let's reposition you guys. I'm thinking like another 5 or 10 minutes. I do appreciate you. Small business, this is all I do. Wood by Wicks. So I just brought all this stuff in. So just people ask for like random pieces, like let's say they want a small piece of wood and they don't want to buy a big piece of wood. So I just brought some random stuff in. Here's some oak. This stuff's not dry. This is all dry material. Beautiful cuts. I potentially, you see those like, like I need to cut like a little sliver off there so those stand really well. Until then, they are situated like that. So yeah, I've sold quite a few sets lately. This is the Wood-Mizer. Let's talk about it. And I'll be going out with the Wood-Mizer very soon. So I just accomplished my goal. Like yesterday, my goal was to go into the woods, and that's what I did. I knew it was gonna rain. That didn't bother me. I had a buddy that really wanted to go into the woods and kind of unplug and do that. So it was a really great experience. I used the chainsaw a lot. I cut up a bunch of wood. I burnt so much wood just from previous, harvests and stuff like that. I identified a few other trees that I need to cut out outside of the, 30 or 40 other trees that I already know I need to cut. So those are my goals. I wish my phone was plugged up to this right now. My tripod doesn't have a little hollow space for this to do that. The one at my house does. But anyway, so this is actually a key. This EcoFlow battery bank. I have 5 of them. And I actually have the solar panels and all this stuff to recharge them. I inherited it from my dad. My dad died 8 months ago. So it's been a crazy time. But yeah, so this is my small business. Here's the Wood-Mizer LT40Y diesel engine. What's crazy is 2 weeks ago I looked at this machine and it cost $55,000. I bought mine in 2020, it cost $41,000. I just looked it up like 3 days ago. It cost $59,000 to get this current machine. So there was $4,000 adjustment in price on this machine within the past few weeks, and I think that's potentially because of tariffs and stuff like that. So that's very interesting to me. I do desire to get the LT70 one day. I won't get the LT70 until I have the piece of land that I desire to have. I do want to buy land, so I want to buy land and build a shop, build a house and stuff like that. We have a house that's a quarter-mile away from this location. As far as open space and storage space from my house, this is the closest situation. I have no desire to store my machine outside. If my machine is sleeping outside, I will be sleeping outside also, and that's kind of my rule. My other rule is I don't want metal to touch my machine, so that's including a chainsaw. So if you're trying to scrape anything off of my machine, use wood. Wood can touch my machine, but no metal. Other than that, and also, be careful with the skid steer. Don't fork my tires and make me have to replace it. So that would be like my only rules with the Wood-Mizer whenever I come out to your property. Other than that, I love to cut wood. I just recently increased my prices. And it might sound crazy to say, I went from $100 an hour to $150, but I've been running a Wood-Mizer for around 7 years, and I have been pulling wood off of a Wood-Mizer for over a decade. So the knowledge and the expertise that I think I have, and just everything about that and the price of everything has gone up. So for the past 5 or so years, I see everything go up. I haven't raised my prices. You know, I was at $100 an hour for cutting wood. I see things go up, haven't raised my prices. See things go up, didn't raise my prices. So some people like, well, why don't you go to 125? No, it's $150 an hour if you want me to come to your property and cut wood. I've cut for over 200 people in the state of Oklahoma. I would love to cut your wood, but it's gonna cost you $150 an hour for me to come out to your property and cut your wood. If you want me to cut wood for you all day long, there's gonna be 2 blades included in that venture. Those blades cost $30 a piece. If you have dirty logs, rotten logs, gravel-filled logs, metal-filled logs, and we have to use more than 1 blade, you know, you're gonna have to pay for that. That's $30 a blade. So outside of the setup fee is going to be based on your location. So you're gonna reach out to me. I'm gonna figure out where you're at. I'm gonna give you the setup fee. It's typically gonna be $200. After that, you're gonna know that it's gonna be $150 an hour for me to cut your logs. So that timer starts whenever I get my machine ready to go. So I get to your property around 7 o'clock in the morning, and machine's ready to go around 7:30. Ideally, your logs are ready to go. And the reason your logs are gonna be ready to go because you're gonna have a conversation with me weeks in advance, and you're gonna talk to me about your situation. You're gonna tell me your goals, you're gonna tell me what you have, and you're gonna tell me if you have a tractor, skid steer, you don't have those things, you do have those things. I'm gonna get you situated, we're gonna get all your logs lined up, you're not gonna have any limbs on your logs. All your logs are gonna be clean, ready to go, so I'm not spending 5 minutes pulling my chainsaw out and having to, you know, trim up the log. All your logs will be ready to go. Do not put your logs on gravel. If you're gonna put your logs on gravel, you need to have bunks underneath it. Let's say you have 2 telephone poles, put those 2 telephone poles like this, and then you're gonna set your logs on it. So we can just roll a bunch of logs onto my sawmill. The most amount of logs I've cut in a day is 65. Sometimes I cut 10, sometimes I cut 20, sometimes I cut 30, sometimes I cut 50. 15, 20, 25. So it all depends on your logs. The other day, I only cut like 9 logs. I was done like by 12:30 though. The reason I only cut 9 logs in that day is these logs weren't saw logs. These were squirrely logs. And that makes a huge difference. So sometimes it takes longer to clamp these logs than a straight log would take. And if a log is going to be small in diameter and it's going to be short in length, like really short, that log sometimes might take longer than an 8-foot log. So if you have a bunch of saw logs, that's your best log to saw. If you have a bunch of squirrely and funky logs that you just desire that you want to have cut up, I would love to cut them. I've cut over 10,000 logs in the past 7 or so years. This is my second Wood-Mizer. I would suggest if you get a Wood-Mizer, you need to get the diesel engine. If you don't get the diesel engine, you're going to regret not getting the diesel engine because you're going to spend $20,000, $30,000 on a machine. You're going to get this little cheap engine, which is gasoline, Kohler. And those engines go out like at 1,000 hours, maybe 500 hours, 800 hours, maybe 2,000 hours. Like, I feel like you're gonna have a longer lifespan with the diesel engine. Outside of that cheap gasoline engine, it doesn't have the power to pull through the logs that you need to have to do the things that you need to do. So my experience from the gasoline engine that had over 500 hours whenever I sold it in 2020, I feel like that engine couldn't cut through the logs as fast, and it struggled cutting through wider logs. Now, I produced many cuts that were just absolutely fantastic with that machine, and I think that machine would still probably take care of every need that I needed to get cut, because that machine also could cut 32.5 inches, and it did have a gasoline engine. So I'm not trying to like really diss the LT40 gasoline engine. and I'm not talking about the Super. I think the Super has 2 additional hydraulic pumps, and there's like a, you have this drag back arm right here, and then you have this little return board silver thing up there that's different from the LT40 wide. Sometimes they change it. I need to walk up here so this light doesn't turn off. Yeah, so when I was in the woods, it was raining all day, all night. I had this tent set up. I was with my buddy. It was a fantastic time. I dropped my gun in the mud. I still need to clean it, so that was kind of unfortunate. But yeah, the Wood-Mizer is a fantastic machine. Once you get a Wood-Mizer, if you get it and you want to have a hobby mill, it's a great hobby mill. If you desire to make it a full-time situation, I would say just be prepared to learn to maybe fix something that might go wrong in this machine. There's times where you need to figure out how to align this machine, or how to adjust this machine, or how to replace something on this machine. And if you're always going to rely on somebody to have to do those things for you, it might get really expensive. My other recommendation would be, don't go out and buy a $60,000 sawmill and finance it if you don't have a plan to have the logs or the customers or the strategy to actually go out and make the money that you need to make your payment. Now, I do not have a payment on this sawmill. Whenever I buy my sawmill, I always recommend that you purchase it in cash and you don't have to finance it, because if you can purchase it in cash and you don't have to finance it, then you don't have that pressure on a monthly basis to make your payment. The only thing that I like to finance is going to be my trucks and my trucks, my cars, and my house. Wife's car's paid off, house is not paid off, truck is not paid off. So those are the only 2 things that I like to go in debt for. No credit cards, nothing like that. So if you don't have the money to purchase a $40 or $50 or $60,000 sawmill, and you do have to go to the financing route, make sure you have a plan so you know that you're going to figure out the way to make the money to pay for the things that you have going on in your life. And then also understand that there might be times that the market changes or situations change, and it might be extremely tough for you. So know that you have to just continue to grind through it. It might not get easier, but you just got to continue to grind, and through time, it will get better. But you have to really press on whenever you desire to take on a Wood-Mizer and want it to be your full-time situation. I will say I've been working for myself for 15 years. I love what I do. I've always loved what I do. The thing that changed whenever I was 19 years old, and retaining walls and landscape, and remodeling, and tearing down walls, bathrooms, done 10,000 plus square feet of tile, bathrooms, shower pans, granite. I can polish the radiuses. We can cut out the sinks, place the granite, do the backsplash. Entire houses. My favorite remodel is when I have complete reins on the entire house and everything needs to be redone. All the floors, all the walls. We're painting all the cabinets, we're painting all the crown molding. There's steps to that process. I'm not saying them in order. The shower pans need to be replaced. We're doing new tile. The granite needs to be replaced. So all those different things. I absolutely love doing those things. And then I found wood. So I would say around 10 years ago, we used to have land, 180 acres in Hydro, Oklahoma, and they, it was a fantastic situation. We had it for over 10 years, but I will say around 8 or 9 years ago, my dad sold it. My dad's no longer alive anymore. He died eight months ago, so it's super tragic and unfortunate situation. But anyways, yeah, the land kind of started the deal. I took these cedar trees that I cut off my land, and then I took them to a sawmill, and then I got them sliced up. And once I got them sliced up, I just thought they were really fascinating, just to see you had a log and then you get sliced up, kind of like if you have a big cut of meat. I like to kill a deer and process it and gut it and
take all the meat out myself. Most people would take that deer and they take it to a processor. I like to do all of those things myself. Just like anything that comes to the house, I like to do all the fixing or any of the remodeling things myself. But anyway, so like, yeah, I love to turn a deer into jerky, but yeah, it's the remodeling thing was just like I was super passionate about it, and then like the wood thing came. Like I started cutting wood and like taking logs to the sawmill, and like I saw like it was a fascinating thing. I just started selling wood. You would start selling a slab for $100, sell another slab for $100. You're making $1,000 a weekend. So it was like super like I would say very lucrative to me. And like the remodeling thing, I made more money remodeling houses. I would make more money remodeling houses and fixing houses and doing shower remodels and kitchen remodels than I do selling wood or cutting wood for people. 100%. So much money more. So, but I decided in 2018 to stop remodeling houses full time, and instead of like remodeling houses like 3/4 of the time and like selling wood on the side and taking wood to a different sawmill, and then not having the ability to know when you're gonna take those logs to a sawmill, you're not gonna know when you're gonna get those slabs back. These people are like, well, I got this customer ahead of you and this customer ahead of you. I'm waiting for this customer to come by Wednesday, drop off this other log, and you're like, well, you think in your mind like, well, that's gonna be 3 or 4 weeks, so like, you're gonna get your slabs back in 3 or 4 weeks, and then like they call you in 3 or 4 weeks, like, hey, I'm rolling your logs in a sawmill, and you go out to the sawmill, and you're just so excited, and you pull these slabs off the sawmill, and you load them in your truck. You start counting your slabs, taking your pictures, and you're super excited about the process. Did that hundreds of times, maybe thousands of times. So I will say, in like a 3 or 4 year span prior to 2018, I probably spent $20,000 or $30,000 paying somebody to cut my wood. So I would have logs, take them to sawmill, they'd cut my logs, I'd pay them $300-$400. It's typically cash. I wish I would never have done that, and I always swiped a card so I could have like actually wrote it off. I think I did write it off. But anyway, so that's the situation. Taking logs to another sawmill for 3 or 4 years and like spending $20,000-$30,000 in sawmill fees. It just made like complete sense to get my own sawmill. And at the price point in 2018 for the LT40 wide, I think it was around $28,000. I got that sawmill that had the gasoline engine for $28,000. And then in 2020, I was able to sell it for more than I purchased it for. And I was able to purchase this LT40 wide super with the diesel. This thing took me 6 weeks to receive. My first one took me a few weeks to receive. There was a stretch of time that it took people over a year to receive. They have got their situation back up in order. I think if you purchase one of these machines brand new, it would take you 6 weeks to receive it. So absolutely fantastic machine. I could pout about it all day long. I don't know exactly if my battery is still going, but yeah, that's the Wood-Mizer, that's the business. I love what I do. I used to love remodeling houses for people. I actually just love remodeling my own personal properties now. And as far as the wood situation, cutting wood, falling trees, falling thousands of different trees, and just like, cutting them up, selling slabs, like I just like love the process. I absolutely love taking a tree and throwing it in a stack, and then a few years goes by, and then you're selling this wood, and then people are sending you pictures of pieces of furniture and things that they make out of the wood that you cut down, sliced out, stored in the proper place, and did the proper things to make sure you didn't have any issues. And then there was a time of 3.5 years ago, I took on some logs. I didn't cut these trees down, but these logs were on the ground for a while, like a very long time. And they were just beautiful logs. So somebody came onto somebody's property and just cut a bunch of trees out, and they didn't have the permission to do that. And unfortunately, so they had a bunch of logs on this person's property. So the controller of the land's reaching out to me, the owner of the land's reaching out to me. tells me situation. Somebody cut a bunch of trees on my property, and they left all these logs because they actually turned out, I think they went to jail during that time. Anyway, so there was a bunch of logs. This guy was been in jail for 8 or 9 months, and it had been on the ground for a while. And the owner of the property reached out to me and said, I have a bunch of logs on the property. I don't really want any money for them. I just want you to get rid of them. They're in my way. I'm trying them out. I'm like, okay, well, come get them. So I went there. I was really excited because they were very nice saw logs. Unfortunately, you got some bark that's rotten off. You can tell that there's some insects in them, and you cut them. So let's say a log is on the ground for quite some time. There's a chance that you're gonna contract like powder post beetles and bugs that are really gonna do damage to your wood. So that's what happened. This wood was stored outside, okay, at my house, and and after I put the stacks of wood, a few months later, you see these piles of sawdust. You're like, well, that's strange, and you have powder post beetles and stacks of wood. And during that time, I was extremely frustrated because it was just beautiful wood, and I sometimes I do not like salvaging logs that have been on the ground for a while and bringing that material into my own inventory, because whenever I cut a tree down, the log doesn't sleep on the ground for a day. So I cut a tree down, I'm slicing these logs up the same day. I'm typically washing the entire slab off within 24 hours. Bark's typically going to be peeled during that time because I typically like to harvest trees in a month and a half. That's when I'm going to harvest 30 or so walnut trees. The bark is going to be able to peel off the log perfectly. There's going to be a lot of water on the sapwood. It's not as cold as it usually has been during the colder months, and it's going to be a perfect time for me to procure a bunch of inventory that I need to put in stacks. And those stacks don't just treat themselves. Let's turn you around. Just this is my ideal slab. This is my ideal slab. I cut this slab 2 years ago. Look at all those slabs. Look, they all fell. We're live and we just fell. Look, let's do this. Look. Sorry for the crazy camera. It's not gonna work. But yeah, so they're all falling. So I'm so sorry, y'all. Look, I hope it didn't just end it. No. I hope that phone doesn't fall. But yeah, these slabs are not situated right because they're not cut properly. They're actually dangerous. They could hurt somebody if someone tried to touch them. So first thing in the morning, this is my first goal. First thing in the morning, these are going to be situated. And I don't even like them right here. Let's solve the problem right now. No problem solved. And let's get you back. Sorry for the terrible video. And like I said, if you want to unsubscribe, you can. Can we zoom you out? But yeah, so those just fell on me. But yeah, so this is my ideal slab right here. It's going to be a 5/4 piece of wood that is cut down, sliced up. Whenever I cut this tree down, I'm going to cut it down, slice it up. Bark is going to be removed in the field. Let me walk to the front real quick before I lose the light everywhere. So these lights turn off every 15 minutes. So every 15 minutes, these lights turn off. Well, that's a major issue. Well, hey, guess what? My overhead is $350 a month. And that's the lowest overhead I've seen a wood business have. So, I like to, people want to bring me logs. They're like, hey, can I bring you logs so you cut them? Unfortunately, I can't receive logs and cut logs because I'm not going to cut them in my driveway. That's an extremely big mess, and obviously I'm not going to be cutting them in my storage unit. So my machine, it's like my target audience is going to be somebody that has land in Oklahoma, and they have logs, and they have trees, or they usually put these logs in burn piles, they burn them up, but they kind of see the value of a tree now, and that they have lots of land, they have lots of logs, and they want to turn these logs into timbers, boards, slabs, 5/4, 10/4, 12/4, whatever quarter or dimension you desire, quarter sawn, whatever. I would love to turn your logs into lumber. So yeah, this is my ideal slab. It's going to be a 5/4 inch walnut slab that has no bark on it. That's dry, flat, from left to right and from end to end. No twist in it. There's sometimes you'll get a twist in a board, and that typically is going to happen whenever you have a stack that doesn't have the appropriate weight or strapping. You know, you have to strap your slabs. If you saw my backyard, I have just stacks and bundles. I consider them bules. So you have an entire log that's cut up, and you put it back in its order. I'm going to consider that a buell. You sticker it, you put it on a level foundation, and then I strap it. I have this Cuban neck strapping system. They actually gave it to me. It's a pretty good deal. But anyway, so they gave me this strapping system. I absolutely love it. You can use metal if you want. I would recommend you not using metal, because if you put metal on wood, you're gonna have a black mark on it. Some people will handle their wood with forklifts or skid steers, and let's say you have an entire, let's say you just pulled up a couple, let's say you just pulled 6 slabs off my sawmill with a skid steer, and you just kept those slabs on the skid steer until the next morning. I promise you, the underneath side of that slab will be like purplish, blackish. So you want to like not put metal on the wood during the drying process, because you will induce black staining. And if you cut this log, slice it up, let's say I always wash my wood, I get it all nice and clean, the bark's already removed. The bark peels off really easily. I have, I think, over 200 videos on YouTube, and I do have a video on YouTube where you see me having a log on my sawmill, and I'm just pulling the bark off the slab, and it's pretty easy if you get it at the right time. If you try to pull bark off of a log during the winter, you're probably going to have a very difficult time doing that, because there's not as much water in the sapwood, and it's extremely cold. So yeah, a month and a half, it's going to be the perfect time for me to harvest my trees. I typically don't tell people exactly when I harvest my trees, but yeah, that around March and April, perfect time. I'll be going out around my birthday. So yeah, that's the situation. Yeah, there'll be a venture with the truck, multiple people, and the trailers, and we'll cut a bunch of trees. There'll be a couple of trees that my buddy will need to go in and top and dissect, and follow these trees that are really high up, so we don't harm other trees in the forest, and then follow these stems and pluck them out, and then there'll be a few burn piles that are created. Those burn piles will be burnt at appropriate time. And then, that's kind of the situation. Cut trees, slice trees up. You don't want to cut the smaller trees out, because those smaller trees, you want to leave there so they can become 30-inch wide walnut trees. Don't cut the 12-inch wide walnut trees out. So perfect, most ideal slab is going to be a 5/4 inch walnut slab that's 8 feet long. Some people want them longer, but yeah, that's the most manageable situation. I've been preparing for my next stack. So I've had stacks in here, I would say 3 different times I have touched the ceiling. So I have boards, anyways, I have stickers, they're 2x2s. I lay them down and I start stacking wood, and I like to only stack 5/4 and large stacks like that. You stack an entire, 8 feet wide. Sometimes I encroach over here also because the stickers that I'm going to be using are going to be 2 by 2 by 8 feet long. This is going to be 12 feet wide. So you're going to place your stack where you want to place it, and then you're going to start encroaching over here, and then you're going to build these slabs all the way up. And I promise you, I have pictures. If you go to my Instagram, I have over 50,000 followers on Instagram, and there's over 2,000 videos of this machine, just cutting wood. There's over 2,000 videos of this machine cutting wood on Instagram. And there's also pictures and videos of stacks on stacks of wood in this particular unit. So I'm going to create my next stack. It's 2025. I ran into like a dull and a lull moment because my dad died last year. And it was kind of a crazy situation, managing his different assets, having to fix his house up for a few months, having to deal with, I just had a plumbing issue. I woke up, I got out of the shower at 1:30 because it was a long night in here. I was managing wood. I walked out of my shower and there was like 100 gallons of water in my situation, like in my house. And I could hear it. It was roaring. The paint was peeling off of the wall. And so this is no new situation for me when it comes to leaks. So I've fixed this situation a few times. So it actually has a polybutylene pipe. It's a gray pipe. It's a recalled pipe. There's a class action pipe. There's no money left. Anyway, so this pipe's all underground. And there's been 4 different leaks, and there's actually been 7 or so different leaks if I'm gonna include the plumbing manifold in the front entryway. But yeah, so I came out and there's a huge leak in my situation. Just the water, it was just like a puddle, and it was expanding extremely fast. I ran out to the meter to turn it off, and unfortunately, I was like, whenever I found the water, I was butt naked. I had a towel wrapped all around me, and I was going to my room to get situated, and I saw that room, all that water. So I ran to my room, got situated. I ran out to the meter, and I was trying to turn it off, and I unfortunately didn't have my phone on me. I had no light. I couldn't see anything. I run back in, muddy feet. Obviously, I don't really care. Get my phone, turn off the meter, and the water stopped. Got the shop vac, got the towels. We took every towel in the house, took the rugs out. I got a dehumidifier on the property within 12 hours. We had 4 or 5 different fans blowing on the situation. Laminate flooring, I had to pop out. There was like 4 or 5 panels. I popped out, and thankfully, thank God, I have extra replacement because you can't get that color match. So I have that replacement. I got that all situated already, but that happened like a week ago, and it was just like crazy. So I got it all situated. Floors all been replaced, drywall's all replaced, but there's just been lots of situations that have happened this year. I had to put my dog down. One of my buddies died. Just crazy things. Like my dad dying. Like it affects me every single day. It's crazy. So I've been like at a lull with the procurement of wood. I've cut 3 trees down since my dad's died. And I'm looking to cut like 30 trees down this year. It's all going to happen in a few week time frame because, that's what's going to happen. And this stack will just slowly build. There's times where I'll chalk this wall just to kind of mark. I'm like, I'm getting past that red line today. I'm going to the W today. So there'll be milestones to the stacks, and it's so much hard work. Whenever I make these stacks, there's not another person like in here like helping me put this piece of wood in. All material handling is done solely, I like to walk slabs. Like I'll show you like what I like to do. It's like whenever I'm like managing like a bigger slab, even if it's like 30 or even 40 inches wide. Ideally, if it was 40 inches wide, I wouldn't want it to be over 12 feet to be, uncomfortable. If it's going to be like super wide, it's probably not going to be stood up if it is that long. But just walking these slabs, So that was you saw the rotten side. They're all rotten. I need to switch this over. I'm just going to walk it like this. So yeah, I need to get this all in here. Not tonight, it'll be too loud. Get all these slabs situated. So there's quite a few slabs I just brought over there. And let me walk over here so this light doesn't go off. No plumbing, no electrical in here. It's just a storage unit. It's frustrating. Sometimes it can be embarrassing to be like, you want to come to my storage unit and buy wood. But honestly, I don't care what people think of me because I just like to treat people properly. I like to treat people with love. I like to respect everybody unless they cross the line. And I just like to treat people right. If you have somebody that has any logs, I would love to cut your logs. This is all I do, and moving slabs is kind of like a daily thing for me. I'm in here every single day moving slabs around. People want to come at all hours of the night. There's times I've been here at 12 o'clock at night selling wood to people because they're coming from Tennessee. They're stopping through Oklahoma because they know me and they want to buy slabs. And I think it's super fantastic. I've sold slabs to United Kingdom, lots of wood in Texas. I'd say 30 or 40% of my wood does go to Texas, Colorado, Utah, all different places. People have came, Wyoming, people have came here to buy wood from me. And I think it's absolutely fascinating. My favorite machine to run is going to be the Lucas mill because whenever I have the Lucas mill out, I have it out for a reason. I don't pull it out for any log. The Lucas mill gets pulled out for massive walnut logs. When I come across massive walnut logs, I pull the Lucas mill out, I set up on the log, and I slice it up. If you want to see cuts of the Lucas mill, I have lots of cuts in my house. So you might be able to see that on some of my videos on YouTube. But yeah, I cut some box elder the other day. This is fresh cut. The only slabs in this storage unit that are standing, that are not seasoned, are going to be these slabs right here. I had like 6 of them. I sold 3 of them today to somebody that bought quite a few slabs off my wall. I've been selling slabs every day. But yeah, just a ramble of the sawmill business. Oh yeah, man. Super excited. Let's see. I don't even know if anybody's still watching. Let's see. Someone's still watching. We'll talk about it. Oh, I guess. So look here. So this is a Burl. Silicone Burl. I paid $120 for it. Not this piece of wood. It was a big old piece of wood. Somebody reached out to me. I've been cutting and selling wood for over a decade. Anyway, so somebody reached out to me and they wanted to sell me a Burl. I was like, well, I would love the Burl. Do you want to bring it to me? And they actually said that they would bring it to me. And I gave them $150. I rolled it off their trailer in my front yard, and then I had the challenge of getting it in my truck and getting it to the sawmill. So that has always been my challenge, is getting these logs or pieces of wood or slabs, moved around. So like my next goal is going to be getting a skid steer. I don't want to finance the skid steer. I want to purchase it in cash like I did the Wood-Mizer. So let's look at this one. Look at this bad boy. So this is a Burl. I actually cut this tree down. Let me tell you about the story. So this is my favorite piece of wood. You would have to give me like $1,000 if you wanted this piece of wood. It's not for sale. Actually, it's $1,500 because I don't want to sell it. So it was like 2020 when everybody was restricted and COVID lockdown. Everybody was like getting shots and stuff. I didn't do any of that. But anyway, so I was harvesting trees and stuff. So I saw a tree in someone's front yard. And this tree, I actually knew about this tree for 4 or 5 years. I always saw this tree and I always knew it was the burliest tree I've ever seen in my life. And one day I saw an old man. He literally had no legs. He had no legs and he was picking up sticks from this tree. So I pulled up into his property, and this so happened to be around an ice storm, so I knew the city was going to take all debris from the curb. I pulled up to his property and said, hey, I'll follow this tree I'll take care of it because I know you're struggling with having to manage because there was a bunch of dead canopy up in it. So I was just trying to help the individual out, and I also found interest in the tree. So I felled a tree on 23rd Street and sliced it up. So this is kind of the Burl. It's a red elm Burl, absolutely beautiful. There's eyes, there's a few skulls in here. So just like wicked urban like Burls and stuff. Let's show you another oak one. It's nothing special. If you go on my Instagram page, like you can see some of my first posts is the most craziest Burl I've ever had in my life. It was part of this this piece. But yeah, it's just oak, Burl. Just pretty cool. I actually have another one at my house. But just oak Burl, and this is a pretty cool piece because I've actually had this piece for like 8 years, and I remember having this giant Burl. It looked like a brain. It was like a white brain, just absolutely fantastic. I spent like an hour power washing it. I was told that it was firewood. So yeah, it's firewood. So you think that's firewood? So I've actually been told logs are firewood probably over 100 times. They tell me that these logs are firewood, and what so happens is that I take these firewood logs and I turn them into like $100 bills, and so like I'm like, well, you're gonna just burn that, and like I would love to have that log, and ideally you don't pay any money for the logs. You want to try to not pay any money for the logs. If you get into walnut, that's going to be wide walnut. You're gonna have to pay for the logs. You're not going to get free walnut. I have gotten hundreds of free walnut logs. It's very rare for that to happen, but it does happen. So if you are trying to target the walnut tree, just know you're going to have to pay for the walnut tree. Every tree that I cut down on the properties that I have access to, I pay for these trees. The unfortunate thing is it's a very small scale business. It's just me. So it's not happening overnight. Some people want these big old machines to come onto the properties and cut every tree on the property. I'm not your guy. I come onto your property and I inspect all the timber that's on your property. Every piece of land. I mean, and literally, I want to walk every inch of your land and look at all your trees. And I'm going to kind of tell you the trees that I think that you need to harvest. And these trees are going to be end of life cycle trees. These trees are going to they're going to have signs in the canopy that they're degrading. Sometimes you'll get trees that will start degrading and the stems start turning yellow. So the very bottom of the stump cut will be yellow. So ideally that tree might have been plucked out 4 or 5 years ago, and that might not have been the case. The best trees, whenever I'm starting to buck the log after I fall the tree, and you buck the log and you just see a small hints of yellow, and you cut your first log off of that 40 or 50 inch 40 or 50 foot log stretch. You cut your next 10-foot log off of it, you cut it, and it's just solid brown. It's like, man, it's a perfect time, because unfortunately, if you wouldn't have cut that tree out at that particular time, you would have lost it, because it just, the rotten branches unfortunately turn stems into degrade. There are times that the tree will compartmentalize the decay, and it won't degrade and it won't turn yellow. So I've seen times where there's just complete hollow voids in trees, and all the wood around it is brown. So trees are very resilient. You can't, expect you know exactly what's going to be inside of that log when it's standing. So that's my spiel on the walnut tree. I love walnut trees. I plant walnut trees. I have tons of walnut seeds. I'm so excited that I have so much space in here, selling a bunch of wood and getting all this new wood that I just brought in, and I'm gonna get it all situated. Yeah, it's just beautiful cuts, man. Beautiful cuts. I don't know why I keep touching these, because they keep on falling. I have a feeling that maybe tonight they'll get unsituated and they'll fall and, knock something over and maybe frustrate me in the morning. So I'll just place it like this. We're gonna end this. But yeah, I'm tired. This is all I do. I love wood. I'd say this is maybe my 4th or 5th favorite Burl in my collection. I do have more Burls that aren't here. These are just Burls that I'm not really selling. They're just chilling. And then this is going to be my number 1. Just absolutely beautiful piece of wood. And then, I don't know, you tell me in the comments, which one do you like better? So pecan Burl, and then red elm Burl. People will tell me this looks like a chicken fried steak. Probably 4 or 5 different times on social media. So let me know if that looks like a chicken fried steak to you. I don't know if it does or not. Man, it's late. But yeah, I was in the woods all day long for 36 hours, raining nonstop. We built, I was with my buddy Devin, dug a hole, a deep hole, built a very, very, very hot fire. As it started raining, all wood around us was wet. I brought, I make my own charcoal, so, I put a couple, of those situations in there. We started a fire, got super, super, super hot, and then just kept on, building a shelter for the fire so the rain wouldn't put it out. And eventually we had a massive fire, kept on putting, even green logs on the fire. We burnt lots of wood and had a great time. I was able to clean up a particular area that I harvested some trees at. We made a campsite for a few different ventures because there's some more trees that we need to harvest out there. It was a super fun time, although it rained the entire time. No, we didn't catch any fish, didn't see any hogs, we didn't even shoot any guns. So it was just a very fun time in the woods. I love being in the woods. It was a fun experience. Ideally, whenever I'm in the woods, I'm actually cutting the trees or doing something along those lines with my sawmill. This was, I didn't even bring my sawmill. We almost got stuck 3 or 4 different times. He loves coffee, so he wanted to go to the store and get coffee. So yeah, getting in and out of properties sometimes can be challenging when it's raining, like pouring rain, it's muddy. You want to make sure you're considerate of the landowners and you're not ruining their property and staying in your same situation. I've seen people go into properties and they're just doing donuts everywhere. That's so disrespectful. Going on somebody's property and just doing donuts like you own the land, but you don't. I find that extremely disrespectful to go onto someone's property and do donuts. So none of that's happening here. I'm very responsible. Just give me access to your trees. I'll put them down. We'll slice them up. If you want the wood and you cut them down, just have me come out and I'll slice the wood up. $150 an hour. If you don't have the means or the ability to cut the trees down, I would love to cut the trees down and process them and do all that. Just know that there's going to be percentages and we'll have to work that out. How much wood I get versus how much wood you get. Ideally, if that's the situation, I would just rather pay you money and take all the wood. But if you do want some of the wood, we'll kind of figure something out. So yeah, that's the spiel. Little ramble. Wood by Wicks. I tell myself I want to do 1 live stream once a week, and it's typically going to be on a Saturday or a Sunday. Just about the Wood-Mizer. Let's turn the Wood-Mizer around. Probably there's 0 people watching me. Let's see. Oh, there's a few. 64 minutes. Can you hear me now? Here's a few box elder pieces I just cut. They're small. Just random pieces of wood. I'll sell a piece of wood like this for $20. People will use it for like like a resin board or something like that, just like a random piece of wood. But I'm gonna end this stream. I'm probably not even gonna save it. Just end it. If you want to follow along. If not, that's cool. Doesn't matter to me. Yeah. God bless you guys. Thank you so much for subscribing. If you do desire to subscribe to me, if you don't, that's fine. If you want to unsubscribe, that's fine also. It's been a very long day. I have completely resituated my unit today. So before I went live, resituated all this. There's a bunch of random stuff here, and just I have a bunch of wall space. So I'm looking forward to coming here tomorrow with my portable skill saw and cutting some slabs so I can get all these walls filled up. Having these walls empty right now, I'm actually doing myself a disfavor because I have the ability to present a piece of wood to a customer, and I'm not presenting that piece of wood to a customer because this spot's empty. So if that spot's empty, it just doesn't make sense. There's customers that come in here every single day, so I need to fill my walls back up. I have all the wood to do it. Cut some wood. God bless you guys, and yeah. Jesus Christ is Lord.